Good evening and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So here we are back at the Great Prog War. This is battle number 20, coming out on the 21st, which is tomorrow morning. I do apologize. I think in the last video I did say it was the last one of the week, but this was actually the last one of the week. Okay, so I actually have dual props for this one, which is the first one that I've had in the series. I have this album by Journey, their debut album, and this one, this by Rush, their Snakes and Arrows album. So there's, of course, a world of difference between these two albums. That seems to be the theme of this round. So this one is like almost more than 30 years older than this album here. So you got one band starting out and one band almost at the end, right? So very different feel to both albums too. The production on the Rush album is pretty good. I find it a little bit at times I find it a little bit cloudy. Not overly, but there's a little bit of cloudiness. This one has a little bit too, not as much, I don't think. So anyway, so this for me, this, even though this is, here's the other ironic part, even though this is the older of the two albums, it's actually the newer one for me because it's the one I've had a lot less listening time to. I probably listened to this a dozen times by now. The most recent time was not too long ago when I was doing the I can't remember what it was now. I remember I had it out for a reason. Anyways, I bought it after Ben's album challenge, which is where I initially heard it, because I thought it was good enough that it had potential to really move up. So it's a decent album. I know that some of you people find this to be a great album. I don't find it that great. Yes, it's Journey, and we know what Journey evolved into, and this is much different than that Journey, but it's still an American prog band, and you know, my interest in American prog bands is still somewhat limited, I guess. As people have pointed out to me, they don't understand why I have problems with Kansas and Journey and some of the other American prog bands. I don't know what it is. I can't really explain it. I do like them. I just don't like them as much as their British counterparts, or even their Canadian counterparts. This has got one track that I really like a lot though, and that's the first track, and I need my glasses to see the title again. So, of a Lifetime, a really great track. The rest of the tracks, not too bad. There's no bad songs on this album, but there's just no memorable ones for me at this point. That might change in time. So yeah, I've had about a dozen listens to the album. It's pretty good. Of course, we know that the instrumentation is pretty good here. Great guitars and drums. But really, the guitars and drums on this, are they really a match for this? I don't think so. As good as Ainsley Dunsbar is, and as good as Neil Scott is on their respective instruments, I don't think they're a match for Alex or Neil on this album. And this isn't even one of Rush's best albums, although it's my favorite of the ones that came out from the post-era, from their post-classic era. So from all the albums that came out from '82, this is the one I like the most. And I think it's more of a sentimental reason than it is an actuality. I mean, yes, I like Test for Echo. Yes, I like Clockwork Angels, and I like some of the other stuff that was out earlier in the '90s. Even Vapor Trails, I like. You know, I like them all, but for some reason, this one is the one that I had started to listen to Rush again after my daughter's birth, but it was still the classical stuff. This was the one that pulled me forward, the album that pulled me forward into the new Rush, and I really quite like this album. There's like 3 or 4 tracks on here I really like a lot, and I think I said this on the last battle. Far Cry is by far the best song on this album, but Armor and Sword, The Larger Bowl, Main Monkey Business are all good songs, and then of course Malignant Narcissism, which may be my favorite instrumental track by them in decades. And I really like the album cover too, like that's a nice shot there. Yeah, it's a pretty solid album overall, and at one point it was probably one of the albums that was on my playlist the longest. I think the other one was Jethro Tull's Songs from the Wood. So this one and Jethro Tull's Songs from the Wood were both on my playlist the longest, and now the Gentle Giant's about to join them in the 1 year thing. And I like this album a lot. I still like it a lot. It hasn't really faded too much. I don't think it's got masterpiece written on it. Definitely a solid 1 though, like solid 1, high 2. This album has potential to be in that same category, and you know, given maybe another year worth of listening to, it might end up challenging this album. But for today, I listened to them both, and I just like this one better. That's all there is. Nothing more else I can say about it. I just feel like this is a better album. I enjoy it more. If I could only keep one of them, I would definitely keep this one. So Rush is going to move on to the next round. That should come as really no surprise to anybody who knows me. And Journey, as good as this was, is going to have to take a back seat again. So we will move on to round number... What is it? What's next? Battle number 21, which will come out on Sunday morning. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't really tell you who it is, but I think the last 3 battles are going to be epic. I think they will be the last 3 in this round, and then we go, or the last 4. Is this the 4th one? I think this is the 4th one, so the last 4. And then we go on to the 3rd round, and it's getting interesting. I find it getting interesting. I really still am not 100% sure how this is going to go. You never really know until you actually sit down and you listen to the 2 albums, and you say, you know what? I love this album, or you know what, this one isn't as good as I thought, or wow, why didn't I notice that track before? You know, all these kind of things that go on in your head. So, and I thank Ben for suggesting this challenge. I didn't think much of it at first, but once I got into it, I realized that, you know, it's a real good chance here to here's some albums in comparison to other albums, see how I feel about them. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And I hope you have a good evening, and we'll be back on Sunday morning with another battle. Another war. Prog War. The Great Prog War. I'm going to get it straight yet. Anyways, you have a good evening. Good night.